Good day, everyone, and welcome to the SuperTalks. Good day, everyone, and welcome to the SuperTalks. We're excited to be here today with two outstanding student athletes that have a very bright future. Demond, we're amped about this one.
This is the SuperTalks.
D1 scholarships.
And two athletes par excellence. How are y'all doing, ladies?
Great. I'm good. Yeah.
Congratulations on all the success.
Thank you.
D1
Absolutely.
scholarships. We're excited. We're thrilled. We're proud of you all. I know that there's a lot of kids that want to follow in your footsteps. So before we get started with some questions, Demond, tell us about our guests.
Well, first of all, we have joining us Faith Franklin, who's a 12th grader at HHS, who's going to be attending Vanderbilt, which is absolutely awesome. And we have Jazmine Thompson, who's also a 12th grader at HHS, who will be going out to my neck of the woods, North Carolina, to Wake Forest. And welcome.
And a lot of work goes into that.
Yes.
When you talk about Division I scholarships. You talk
Yes.
about universities that are highly sought after. So for you guys to get their attention and just your success, we've been watching you all. We've been watching all the championships. We've been seeing you all on that track and field. And you're just so inspirational. But more than that, you're great kids. You're doing good in the classroom. Your families must be very proud. I even saw some of the videos where grandmas are talking and moms are talking. And there's just so much celebration. So.
Wow.
Demond, what questions do you have for our outstanding student athletes?
Well, and this is for either one or both. Growing up, did you all think track was the path, or kind of give us a little bit of your background? Like, how did you all end up where you are? Because I know we were talking a little bit before, and you were talking a little bit about basketball, and it sounded like you kind of had some of Mr. Wilson's skill of basketball, which wasn't, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So talk a little bit about some of that.
You can go first.
Oh, well, I actually started with softball. We thought I was going to be like some national champion or whatever. And yeah, it quickly faded. And I was like, oh, yeah, I want to do basketball. I still sucked. So, and then I got pushed into track because it was off season. And then I was actually a sprinter. And I was fast.
You're a sprinter?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I was a sprinter. And then they were like, you don't have to run if you do shot put. And I was like, okay. So that's what I did. And here I am.
So it's shot put and discus?
Shot put and discus.
Wow.
That is amazing. So what does it take because that's a very technical event. You got to have a lot of technique, a lot of skill. Mm-hmm. When did you realize that you were good at this? I mean, you're talking about state championships. You're talking about winning most events you go to. When did it click? Like, I'm really good at this.
Literally 6 months ago.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, that was it. Because at first it was just a pastime. And now it's like, oh, okay, colleges are noticing you. Get on the train. So that's what I did.
And what are you going to study?
Kinesiology.
Very cool. What's the dream? What's the goal? What do you want to do with that degree?
Physical therapy.
That is awesome.
That's
There's
incredible.
a lot of need for physical therapists. So
Absolutely.
You're on the right track there. Very, very cool. And Faith, what about your story?
Yeah.
So when I lived in Dallas, I was a gymnast and I was training 5 hours a day, 6 days a week. Like, it was my life. And I was about to go homeschool just to get enough training in. And actually, 2024 was the Olympics I was aiming for. So,
wow.
Yeah, and I won state a few times for gymnastics. I went to level 9, and then I moved here, and I quit gymnastics just because there wasn't a competitive enough gym. And then my dad ran track, and I always knew I was kind of fast. And then I joined track, and here I am. And I met Coach Woolry.
Yeah, and you discovered you were very fast. What events do you run?
I do the 100, 200, and 400, but the 4 is the one I'm excelling at the most.
And that is the race of all races, the open quarter. That's the one that takes the most guts. It takes the most grit. It takes the most. I know that there's some that say, well, there's technique where you sprint the first curve, you stride out the straightaway. But I mean, the good ones just sprint the whole way. I mean, so I think that's something there. What does it take to run that event?
It takes a lot of, mental training too. Not only the endurance part, but speed endurance, because it's also you're running longer than 100 meters, so you need to be able to hold that speed, and it's really just whoever can hold their top speed the longest and stick it out, I guess.
So what do you mean when you're talking about the mental side of the game? What are there's some student athletes out there that I'm sure are going to be curious about that comment. What are some ways that you prepare yourself mentally?
Well, I guess I talk myself through workouts, through meets. I have to focus on what I'm doing. Like you said, there's a certain way to run the 400. So I'm just constantly telling myself, this is what I need to do. Okay, now I'm at this curve. I need to do this. And yeah, just talking myself through it. And then when I feel the lactic acid in my legs, just pumping my arms, getting through it. Because after the 400, I don't know, there's videos.
Yeah, we've
I'm
seen
like on the floor crawling, but I'm working on it.
Yeah.
Working how to recover quicker.
Yeah, I find it interesting too. Like when you're at the most difficult moment where you think, you know what, I can't go on. Like, what are some of the things that go into your mind? Like, how do you make your mind tell your body, no, I got to push through this. I got to make it happen.
I just love to win. I just have to tell myself, you got this, keep going. And then the crowd also helps me a lot. When I hear people yelling for me, screaming for my name, like I hear Jazz sometimes. And it really just pushes me, honestly. And I work off competition. So if I see someone ahead of me, I'm going to go and try to catch them.
And Jazmine, how does it work in your event? Because it's just so much technique, but there's so much that goes into the preparation. There's so much that goes into the actual event, hitting your mark, getting your best throw. How does that work?
Honestly, it's all confidence.
Okay.
So basically,
That is true.
like you can't go into it and like, okay, well, like maybe if I do this, maybe if I do that. And it's like, no, I have the technique. I know what I'm doing. My coach taught me what I'm supposed to know. Just execute. So yeah, that's what I've been doing and what I plan to continue on doing.
Yeah, I like that. So to all the viewers out there, I think that there's something to that, whether you're playing, track and field or any other sport, but really in the game of life, I think it's all about confidence. It's all about believing in your abilities. It's all about knowing that you've worked to get where you are and staying hungry and I think we lose sight of the fact that life is it's a big mental part, the emotional intelligence, the way that you maneuver this world. There's a lot of ups and downs, and I think the same is true as an athlete. Sometimes you win and sometimes you lose and sometimes you get hurt and sometimes things are going well, but I think the better we can do that as individuals. So that's the message to the world is how you're going to work on your mental game.
Yeah, and I think also, too, one of the biggest things that I also take away with what you're talking about is adaptability. How, like when do you know, okay, I need to do something else, and that's okay. Were there times or whatever where you were really frustrated and you thought, well, maybe sports isn't for me? Or what kept you? Because I find so many times or whatever, as I work with students, that sometimes, and I always tell people, be real careful on, saying a kid's going to end up in this place or that place, because you never know where the growth spurt kicks in. You never know when they find their groove or find their path. So what for you all kept you all from giving up? Because had you given up, you wouldn't be, going where you're going right now. And, so what kept you going?
Woolery. Yeah, he's a big supporter. Because when I tell you the practices that we've had, those 4-hour days, the days during the breaks when I wanted to go home, he was the one pushing me, making sure that I was on top of it. Because he's the one that told me I need to be hungry or I'm going to be last, So I don't do that.
I love that.
Yeah, I'm too hungry to settle. So I need to make sure that I'm on top of it, because why would I give up the talent that God gave me? So I need to make sure I have all my ducks in a row.
So you mentioned Coach Woolery, and I'm glad we're going to be listening to Coach in a bit on the SuperTalks. He's coming in to give us his perspective. But what's one piece of advice that Coach has given you that you've really taken to heart?
Oh, that's a great question. I don't know. I feel like it's him yelling all the time. He's like, you don't want it. You're not hungry enough. And then that motivates me, because then, I get so mad. And then I throw farther.
I think the coaching is different for both of us, because Woolery doesn't really yell at me.
Well, but
So
you know, but
what's
you know
a
what?
piece of it? I think that.
But you know, but I think it's important because different people are motivated in different ways, and I think
Definitely.
that great teachers know what is your motivation here. What will get the best from you. You know, some people, whatever you need that. Hey, you know, you need that voice, and some people you just need a little. And it's like, you know. So I mean, you know. So what for you? Like, what's the motivator for you? Like, what's the biggest takeaway that you, as you get ready to graduate and to move forward, what is the biggest thing you think you take away from your teacher?
For me, I think I've mentioned this before, but he always tells me where the mind goes, the body will follow. So I just can't be weak-minded. Have to stay strong.
I love that.
Oh yeah,
And I take that to heart too. Even in a position like mine or a position like yours,
absolutely.
where the mind goes, the body will follow.
The body will follow.
Yeah, I think that there's something to that. But it's easier said than done. You know, it's those are words and words dissipate. But when you really take that to heart and you really start to focus on what you're telling yourself, there is definitely power in that. So that's cool. I have a question. So my little girl, she's 10 years old. Her name's Samantha. And she wants to be just like you all. She wants to get a scholarship. She wants to play sports
That's
at the
good.
next level. She wants to grind, but I think she's 10 right now. And so you guys are 17?
I'm 18.
18?
Oh, yeah, our birthdays are like
Yeah,
that.
we're like right now.
So if you could go back and give your 10-year-old self some advice, what advice would you have for your 10-year-old self?
Oh, jeez.
I think I would tell myself, be patient, because I just want everything at that moment. But as I got older, I learned, and Woolry taught me how to be patient because, of course, the times aren't just going to come. Like, you have to work for that. You have to put in the work. You have to train hard. And that was one thing I would tell myself, is to be patient. And anything you put your mind to, you can accomplish it.
Absolutely.
That's good advice.
What about for you?
I told myself to calm down. I was feisty. I was so bad. So yeah, I tell her like it's okay. Not everything comes when you want it to. It's all a process. Because one thing about me, I acted a fool when I didn't get my way. And so yeah, also patience. Like not everything goes the way you want it to. Things happen for a reason. Let it, you know?
Exactly.
I love that. I
'Cause
can't wait for my Sammy to hear this because she's just like you all. She's learning how to lose right now. So she plays at the Boys and Girls Club. She plays volleyball and basketball, but when they don't win, it's a heck of a ride home.
Yeah, especially at the Boys and Girls Club. Yeah.
There's tears and there's why this and why that.
I need to go to a game. I've never gone to
it's
one.
intense.
It's rough.
So I gotta get her to listen to this and also to be patient because I think she wants it. She wants it now. So it's almost like if you know my little girl, I love that advice. But what about you, Demond? I know that you've accomplished a lot in your life. If you could go back and talk to your 10-year-old self, what advice would you have for him?
Well, I think the biggest advice that I would give to him is, you know, my story's a little crazy. That's such a that's a wild question.
Answer the question.
Okay, all right, okay. I would tell him that it's gonna be okay. That the thing that you are going through it. And just keep going. You don't have to think that whatever moment that you're in your life is it.
Okay.
And so that's true for wonderful things, and that's also true for things that break your heart. It is for a time, it's for a season, it's for a reason, and it's a lesson to be learned from that and to grow through things. Not go through things, grow through things, and that's okay. I've learned that now later on in life. At the time, some losses will really upset a brother. So I understand, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But after a while, you begin to learn that I think probably some of the greatest things that ever happened to me in my life was losing.
Yeah.
I grew more from that than I ever did any championship. And I've seen a lot of championships in my day. But it was those times when I heard no, that's when that no was a sign to me of, oh, it's time to be better.
Right on.
And so I would encourage anybody or whatever out there with that, any no's that you're getting in your life, I understand that's an opportunity for you to grow through that.
I like that. And that's what the Super Talk's about. And hopefully somebody out there is going through something and picks up some kind of information, whether it's from our student athletes or from Demond or from any part of our conversation. But I have a question about academics, because, you know, it's one thing to get that scholarship, but you look at Vanderbilt, you look at Wake Forest.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta have good grades.
Oh, yeah, you do.
So you guys are grinding in the classroom too. So I'm very interested in what it takes to be a high performing athlete that knocks it out of the park in the classroom. What does it take?
Dedication and time. And time, we don't have a lot of that. So I need to make sure that I'm on top of everything. And some advice I'd have to give is, I know people say like you can take like a 4x4 route and just take your basics in high school. But if you can figure out what you want to do as early as possible, that's going to set you forward. Because that's exactly what I did. And like now I'm like, I have so much knowledge just from high school. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So like, yeah,
and
that's
it's free.
And it's free. Yes. Because one of the courses I'm in now, if I would have took that in college, that's an extra $18,000. So like, I'm so grateful.
That makes me so happy. No, just the fact that you all realize that makes from an economic standpoint, just the fact that you're seeing that, because a lot of young people don't see that, but you all do. So it shows a lot with regard to your perspective and understanding the benefit and how you're going to save so much now, and it's going to help your future selves be in that much better of a place economically. So I think that that's impressive. I'm impressed that they realize that, because we have many opportunities that are free.
Yeah.
That people or young people don't wrap their minds around. So I hope that somebody out there realized that man, we got a lot of free stuff.
Take advantage of it while you can. And the new stuff that's coming out too, aviation and all that stuff, I would have given anything for that.
You imagine that?
Look, I'm going to try to imagine it now. How can I, y'all need a mentor in the class.
And if you don't know about it, Harlingen CISD is in partnership with the airport, right? So we have Mitri that is going to be our instructor. He's a flight instructor. And our students are going to have the opportunity to get their private pilot license and their commercial drone pilot license before they graduate high school.
Would that not be wild? And I'm really thinking they need a sponsor who also needs a pilot license and a drone license today. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, I don't, I know you got to interview. Go ahead.
So before we break, 'cause we're gonna get Coach Woolery on. I know he's over on the side over here looking at. He can't wait to get in. He's got his game face on, man. He's ready to rock. Anything for the world? Anything before we go? Any information you want to get out? Anything for your parents? Anything for your family? For your friends? Anything at all?
I would just say thank you to everyone who supports me, not only family, like even people I don't even know. They're out there supporting me. Like now, sometimes when I go to Target, there's someone and they give me a hug. And they're like, I saw you.
Wait till after the Super Talks.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I just want to say thank you to the whole RGV community for everything. And I know some people even drive to come see me, which is crazy. So I just want to say I love them.
Oh,
that's
that is sweet.
awesome.
Yeah, me too. I want to say thank y'all, because all of my mom's Facebook friends, they're all over me. And the people who support me in Houston, my family up there, and then my family that's spread across the U.S., they still support. They still try to show up when they can, especially the Valley. Like, I don't think I could have ever gotten a backbone like this in Houston. Like, yeah, it's definitely surreal.
Yeah,
So,
everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I'm thinking, Demond?
What?
They need to be part of one act.
Someone told me that the
I
other
mean,
day.
they look like actors. They're just naturals on the camera, naturals with the mic. They're just smooth. I'm sitting here, and I know you run the conservatory, actor in residence. He's been all over the world training.
I would so do it, but we don't have time.
Absolutely
I would
not.
I know, Coach is like, no, they don't have time for
Coach
one
is
act.
like, hold up, wait a minute.
I'm just saying. You know what I'm
Oh, yeah. No, let me tell you something. You both are so, and I was just sitting over here listening to you both, and I'm like a fan listening to both of y'all. Y'all are so talented, smart. Y'all have got the world ahead of you, and it has been an honor to meet both of you. It's the truth.
Oh,
It's
thank
absolutely
you so much.
the truth.
So
I can't wait to see where you go.
Stage? Is it too late? How do we get him into a play? I want to see him at the conservatory.
Well, I mean, we'll have to work. I mean, we'll have to work out the schedule. You know, the one act play goes for. And look, the way we do it here in Harlingen, the one act play starts in January, and we don't usually finish until the end of May. That's the way we roll.
See, we start season January, states in May, and then we have nationals and everything.
Maybe we can have a cameo. Maybe we can have just something.
Imagine we have a play in the parking lot.
Figure it out.
We'll have to see. Yeah,
We're gonna just don't be surprised if you find yourself on stage because you guys have the it factor, and I'm very proud of you guys.
Thank you. My dad tells me that.
I'm telling you, your dad's right.
We've had like 40,000 interviews between the both of us, so I feel like we're like
40,000.
How many of you?
You probably had more than I have.
I feel like I've been interviewed so much. I'm just like, oh, hi.
Oh, it's gonna
I
get
had
better.
some good times and some bad times, honestly.
Yeah.
Oh, especially when I stutter. Oh my gosh,
It's okay.
it's so bad.
I think there's just something to being real and being raw and just having a conversation. But I do want to thank you all. I'm looking forward to Coach because I know you both gave Coach a lot of props, and I know that
definitely.
I've been
He
watching him from
deserves
afar,
No,
and he's the real deal, and he's got a heck of a story. So we'll be right back with Coach Woolery. Let's see what he's got for us. Well, welcome back to the Super Talks, and we have Coach Woolery here, and I know that Coach does a tremendous job with track and field on the female side, works with males too, does strength and conditioning on the female side, but HHS and Harlingen CISD is blessed to have him. Just blessed because you're a great person, Coach, and you got a heck of a story. And I think part of all of that, and I was talking to Demond, and we were going back to your roots and where you grew up and how you worked for everything that you have. And I can't wait to have the community hear that story. So, Demond, what questions do you have for Coach Woolery?
First off, thanks for being here. And secondly, thank you for working and creating and molding such incredible kids. Those young ladies are absolutely awesome. And I can't wait to see where they go. And obviously, that's a direct reflection of your mentorship, of your leadership. Tell us a little bit about your journey. Like, how did you get here? How did this all happen?
Well, I've been an athlete pretty much all my life. I've done sports since I was 6, 7, 8. Soccer was my first sport, actually. And eventually I started doing track. Eventually I got a scholarship, went to A&M Corpus Christi. That's where I got my scholarship to go to. I coached there for a little bit. And eventually I came to the Valley, where I got the job here at Harlingen High School, and been coaching since.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Jamaica. I'm from Jamaica originally.
What part?
Westmoreland. People know the Negril area for tourist spots. So
Okay. Is it
Negril,
close to Ocho Rios? Or?
No, Montego Bay.
Okay.
So where I live is like an hour away from Montego Bay. So it's not that far away. The country is small. So Ocho Rios is probably another 3 hours away from me. So it's not that far away.
So what was it like? What was your childhood like?
Childhood was it was fun, you know. I grew up a country boy, so everything was like a country kid. All my food was from the earth, like literally.
Wow.
I mean, natural, everything.
Wow.
My dad farmed a little bit, so everything was natural. Grew up climbing trees, like how we used to do it back then. You know,
Like Heberville, man.
Yeah.
You may as well have grown up in Heberville.
Yeah, climbing trees, all like fun stuff. That's how my childhood was. It was fun. I didn't grow up with a lot, but I was fortunate to know that what I wanted to do in life and that education was important. So I was big on education young. My parents were, not fortunate. I was not poor, but I was not rich either, you know. We had to work for everything we had. So that's kind of like how I grew up. I'm very fortunate for everything I have.
So did everything come easy, or was there ups and downs along the way?
There was a lot of ups and downs. Again, if it wasn't for sports, I do not know where I would be, because we wouldn't be fortunate enough to get education in universities, because you have to pay for everything in Jamaica. So it wasn't give me type of thing. You have to work for everything you have. That's kind of how Jamaican mentality is. And competition is super big in Jamaica. Track and field, for example. Obviously you guys know Jamaica is a sprint factory. We produce some of the best athletes in the world. Not just sprinters, we have great throwers as well, jumpers as well. We just had the youngest jumper break the world record for triple jump. So Jamaica overall, we have some great athletes, but that stems from competition. It's always a competition. The next man behind you want to beat you. So you have to always be on your grind. You always have to be hungry. That's kind of how Jamaican mentality is. So everybody's grinders, we have to work hard. So
Love that.
That mentality will push you to keep being better.
What was your event?
Well, I started off in multi-events. I was a multi. So I did the heptathlon, which is 7 events. So I did all the events. In high school, I did relays, high jump, long jump, hurdles. So I literally was doing everything.
What was your best?
My best event was shot put and discus. Discus was my specialty. The way it worked out when I came to America for college, the reason why I stuck to just the shot put and discus was because we didn't have pole vault pit. In them corpus at the time, we didn't have a pole vault pit. And when we started indoor, I broke the record in shot put. So the coach was like, okay. Okay. So I broke the record that the first 5 meets we go to, I'd break the record every single time. I kept breaking my own record. So he was like, let's just stick to throwing. And that's how I just became just a thrower. I was All-American in the discus my final year in college as well. So it worked out pretty well.
Wow. So where in the process did you decide that you were going to teach? How did that process come into being? I
think life led me into teaching. It was an opportunity that presented itself, and I jumped on it, and I loved it since. I love creating and molding minds to be great. I think motivating is my biggest thing. Teaching part of it, yes, that's anybody can teach, I think, but motivating people to want to be better, do better, to learn, to push themselves beyond, that's a big part for me.
I love that. And that's one of our domains for emotional intelligence. If you think about motivation, the key is intrinsic motivation and how do we motivate ourselves, but extrinsic also is how do we motivate others and get motivated by others. So I love that you mentioned that. So from a character trait perspective, just for the world that's listening, what character trait do you believe is one of the most important character traits in order to be successful in life?
Never give up. I think persistence is a big thing. You have to always keep moving forward. Even when things are bad, and things are going to be bad, nothing works out perfect. There's no perfect plan. You have to be persistent. Eventually, if you keep grinding, things always find a way of working out. I think that's a big thing for most people, that people give up. When things go bad, people give up. Or people get a hitch here or there. They're like, okay, I'm going to give up. I won't do it anymore. But if you keep working, you keep grinding, even when you're in the negatives, keep grinding, things will eventually work out.
Yeah. And I'm imagining that somebody's scrolling through Facebook right now and they come across this Super Talk and it's right on this spot. Yeah. And they're out there and they're thinking, man, life's hard, or maybe they're in a slump right now, and you're hearing Coach tell you don't give up, persistence. And a lot of times it's hard not to give up when things are going bad, but I think that's something that we can all take away is we have to condition ourselves to be unstoppable, and we have to understand the importance of persistence. And here, the thing is, it's easier said than done. So I'm just asking, and I'm talking to myself first, is just we all just have to be tough and keep pushing, because there's a lot of individuals counting on us, especially ourselves, to keep pushing. What do you think, Demond?
I think you're absolutely right. And I wonder, because I asked your students this, but in you, has there ever been a time where you wanted to give up?
I think we've all been there.
And what kept you?
I think there's sometimes there's something about you that makes you never want to give up. I think my faith is a big part of it. I believe that God definitely has sheltered me in some effect. I feel like no matter what you can do, if you believe in God, man, anything is possible. That's my belief, really. So anytime I'm going through things or tough situations, tough times, I just believe God got me, It's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. So that's been a big part for me. And there's always been signs for me. I feel like when you feel like there's nothing that can go right, at the perfect time, things just work out. So sometimes it works that way. So I'm a man of faith as well. So I definitely believe that if you believe, things will work out. And yes, we all go through it. I think everyone has been at a low moment in their life where they feel like, okay, I can't do it anymore, I have to give up. But at that moment, the next moment might be that moment for you, you know? So that's the big thing.
Yeah. So if you go back in your mind's eye and just think of all the memories of being an athlete, what's the one thing that you learned in your experience as an athlete that you really use now as a coach?
I think being hungry, that's the one thing I always push my athletes to be hungry, and good work ethic. You can be hungry all you want. If you're not putting in the work, nothing's going to happen, you know? So yes, being hungry, but behind that hunger, what are you doing to back up that hunger, you know? So that's one thing I kind of push to my athletes because, as I mentioned, Jamaica is very competitive. So we have to always be hungry. You have to always know that, hey, at any moment, another guy might be taking your spot, you know? And back home, we cut people from teams. You know what I mean? If you're not on point, you get cut. I mean, that's just the reality. So
That's life.
So it's life, and life is tough like that. So that's a lesson I kind of push to them that, guys, you can't be too laid back. You have to always be, even if you're at the top and you're winning, okay, train like you're losing. You know, that's kind of the mentality you have to have. You have to always be hungry. Yes, appreciate the moment, appreciate your wins, enjoy the wins. But next, keep working again, keep grinding, and it'll work out that way. You know, I think, and I always tell my athletes, it's an investment. What you put in, you'll get back. You might not get it back immediately, but just keep making the investments. Eventually, your hard work will pay off, and that's the one thing I push them all the time.
I love that. Even when you are on top, train like you are losing. And that's what keeps you ahead. And I fundamentally believe that. And I think that goes all the way across the board because I think sometimes people can get so caught up in your head. No, you're always behind. Always see it that way. I love that.
So how often do you get back to Jamaica?
Well, I haven't gone back as much as I want to.
Well, when are we going back? That's what I want to know. We got a tour guide. We got a tour guide.
Today.
You do have a tour guide.
Yeah, when we go back, when you go back, we're going with you.
Yes.
Sounds like a plan.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
Anything before we close them on?
Well, do you have any words of wisdom or anything that you want to say to the community, to your kids,
To Jamaica?
to Jamaica, anything?
I think the biggest thing is to believe. Believe and work hard. I think I always keep pushing those things to people that believe, work hard, and never give up. If you can do those things, man, you'll always succeed no matter what. And it doesn't matter your background. It doesn't matter. It's equal to everybody. Hard work is equal to everybody. Never giving up, it's equal to everybody. So if you believe and you work hard and believe that you can be great, you will be great. But just keep working hard.
Well, I believe that you're watching the Super Talks for a reason. There's somebody out there that needs to hear that right now. I know for me, I'm getting motivated by it. You know, not to be complacent, to work hard, to stay hungry, to play like you're behind. I think that that's something that, regardless of what you do for a living, regardless of what space you are on this planet, I think that that's something that's universal, to your point, Coach. So to everybody out there, hope that this Super Talk inspired you, and I hope that you're better for it. I know that I am.
I am too.
Thank
Coach,
you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Goodbye, everybody.